I'm never setting foot on that island again. I just got home from Florida. I waited a while before typing this post for the sake of my own sanity. Let me explain what happened. I just woke up, and I don't remember anything. My buddy was there, and he explained what he saw happen. We talked for a while before he left because he had errands to run. I got comfy in my bed and turned on the TV. The TV illuminated the room, and I noticed the camera that my buddy let me borrow. Crap, he forgot it. I get out of bed and pick it up and turn it on to see if I should charge the battery. It's common courtesy. It was only then I noticed that there was only a couple of minutes left on the tape. He gave me a blank tape with about 2 hours of footage on it. That means I recorded something. That's impossible though. I had only been on the island for about half an hour. A morbid curiosity overcame me, and I decided to plug it in and watch it. It started out with me waving goodbye to my buddy. I began my hike through the island. The video cut to me at the Avery section of the island. Keep in mind that I don't remember any of this. I was looking around for anything that might answer some questions. I headed for the maintenance area behind the bird exhibits. I closed the door behind me, being the genius I am. It was somewhat dark in there. Light enough so you can see, but dark enough to make you feel uncomfortable. It was a room full of bags of birdseed, some ripped open and spilled on the floor. There was an empty bucket in the corner, from what I can see, with some scrapers next to it. I could only guess what that's for. I continued on into the dim room. When I find a room with a bunch of pedestals scattered on the floor, it seemed like they were ripped off or something, and hastily thrown into the back room. I put a camera on nearby an AC unit, and I watched myself pick one of them up. I looked surprised and a bit scared. I showed the camera the face of the pedestal. It was one of those information pedestals that taught you about the bird it was showcasing. It had an upside-down pentagram burned on it. I paused the tape to clear my head, after which I continued and braced for the worst. I picked up another one and showed this one to the camera, an upside-down cross with what appears to be a crude Mickey Mouse nail to it. I put it down slowly, but a bang made me freeze. I stood there for about 10 seconds before something made me grab my camera and run. The video cut to me walking outside. It was dark out now. Using a flashlight to lead the way, I briskly walked through the park. It was eerily quiet. The only sounds I could hear were heavy breathing and quiet footsteps. This continued on for about 10 minutes. The video cut again. This time, I was in what appeared to be a bathroom. I was kneeling on the ground, facing the side of the stall. I was leaning on it as if I was being deprived of strength. I turned around towards the camera and started to softly sob. I feel uneasy watching this, as I don't normally cry. After a bit of sobbing, a voice from the distance, it sounded email, simply stated, in a firm voice. I did as she commanded. I hesitated for a bit, and without warning, I punched a hole through the hard plastic stall wall and began to scream before the video cut to a new scene. This time, I was in a security room. All of the TVs were functioning perfectly. They were all displaying different parts of the island. People were hustling and bustling about the exhibits and displays. The camera zoomed in on the date displayed in the corner. All I could get out of it was TH 1999. I believed it to be the date of the park closing. It showed there was one man that climbed over the railing into the jungle. The security feed began to fast forward. stopped after 10 seconds of fast forwarding. What I saw next, I couldn't get out of my mind. All of the people in the feeds covered their ears and bent over in agony. The only people that weren't were the employees, who started to act ecstatic. I could understand why. If everybody except you and your co-workers began to act like that, I would panic too. They tried things from shaking the people to hitting them. Nothing got them to respond. One of the employees stood up and shouted something at the other employees and started to run away with them. As if away from something, I soon realized what that was. When a black mist rolled over the island visitors at a surprising rate, it didn't seem like mist. It just seemed like a black mass that consumed the camera's view. I stopped the security feed and backed away to show all of the TVs. Just then, a soft voice spoke from behind. It was Snow White, staring blankly into the camera. The camera swerves around. She undergoes a gruesome transformation. Her eye sockets turned dark black, and the veins around her eyes splintered out from the center. Her eyes turned white, and she finally cocked her head to the side with a loud crunch. Her jaw dropped and almost touched her shoulder as she let out what sounded like a scream. It was so bad it distorted the audio. She put her arms straight out in front of her and lunged for the camera before it cut again. I was wondering through what appeared to be a plaza of sorts. I every once in a while peered into one of the displays or snack bars. Every time I would find another pentagram burnt into the ground on the inside. My silence worried me. Whispering became audible. But it was multiple voices. My footsteps became paired with another, and so on. My walk became a brisk jog, and I stopped checking in the displays. I was tempted to stop and pressed on. I abruptly stopped in place. While the whispering and the footsteps grew louder, I quickly turned around to find nothing, while the whispering and footsteps stopped. I let out a pained sigh of relief, or at least that's what it sounded like. I turned around again to be greeted by Mickey Mouse. He said, Mickey began to violently shake, after which his eyeballs exploded, sending entrails and blood spewing out of his eye sockets. I hear a scream from an unknown voice. Then halfway through the explosion, the video cuts again. I was sobbing again, but it was lighter out. Blood was splattered on the camera, but only a little bit. I was sobbing again, but was holding the camera and walking through the woods. The camera jerked forward, and I almost dropped it. The camera pointed down to the ground, where an arm was sticking out of the ground, grabbing my ankle. I pulled away, and pulled the rest of the body that belonged to the arm out with it. It was a sickly version of Mowgli, the protagonist from the Jungle Book. He looked gray, and he was strangely had more contrast than the rest of the shot. His hair had fallen out, leaving only a couple of dangling strands. I started to scream for help. I dropped the camera, showing a shot of multiple Mowglis climbing on trees. They were all barking and yelling. My foot had just escaped the camera's view, as all of the Mowglis pounced onto me, also escaping the camera's view. After that, it got quiet. The camera sat there for roughly 30 seconds, re-entering view. I stood up and picked up the camera. I walked through the jungle for a while until I got to a cliff. I had jumped over a railing to get to it. I placed the camera down and walked towards the edge of the cliff. I leaned over the edge and fell. I'm done. I'm done asking questions. I'm done being curious. I'm done looking for answers. I'm done. I refuse to try to analyze anything I saw on that tape. I refuse to further explore the topic. I'm done with this blog. This will be my last post. I know this may be an anticlimactic ending, but I honestly couldn't care less. Feel free to speculate and discuss any theories on this. Just know that I will not be answering any questions. No, I will not provide the video. I'm not wasting my time digitalizing this shit. The only thing I will provide is the picture I found on my digital camera that I brought. Goodbye, all. I'm done. I'm done.